So I spend a lot of time on the internet, and in my travels I've come across 10 websites that I think will change the way you use it. And I'll actually go as far to say that by the end of watching this video, you will use at least 5 of these on a regular basis, which is a bold claim, but wait till you see what they can do. Number 1 is VirusTotal, and in an era where information is becoming increasingly under threat, this makes a lot of sense. Essentially, by uploading any file to this website, it'll do a complete check if it has any viruses, any trojans, or pretty much any malware whatsoever. So just before you click on any slightly dodgy looking program or any bit of software from a developer you don't really trust, whack it online, take a look for yourself. Now then we've got KICKASS, and this has to be one of my favorites on the list. So when you visited the KICKASS website, it asks you to basically create a KICKASS bookmark. And once you've done that, anytime you're browsing the internet, it could be on YouTube, it could be on Wikipedia, you tap the KICKASS button and it summons a moving cursor, which you control with the arrow keys, and more importantly, actually fire projectiles out of it. These projectiles come into contact with elements on the web page and essentially blow them up. So you can actually be roaming around the pages describing King Henry V and blow up his photo and then blow up some of the text describing him. You could be blowing up your YouTube analytics, and it actually scores you throughout the process, and once you've reached a high enough score, it gives you a detonation bomb. Pretty cool. The next one is an absolute game changer. This is 10-minute mail. Anytime you're signing up for forms where you don't want to be added to generic mailing lists and don't want to be contacted about all the latest and greatest in shampoos, this is the one for you. So when you visit the website, it assigns you a random, temporary and secure email address for 10 minutes long. So anytime you're filling out a form, but you also need to confirm your email address, fill it out using this generic one, and then you can confirm it through the website. So the next one I'd say is a bit less on the useful side and a bit more on the wow, this is very cool side. This is the archive.org. Once you visit this website, it allows you to essentially travel in a time machine and see what the internet was like, or at least specific pages were like, many years ago. So for example, you could take my channel URL, put it into this website, and see what Mr. Who's the Boss looked like back in 2012. It's probably better if you didn't, because it's really not great, but of course it's kind of fun. Now for those of you who like YouTube, which considering where you're watching this video is probably the majority of you, this one is for you. So if you head over to YouTube TV, then it lets you watch these same videos in an entirely new interface. It has a dark theme. You can control everything just with your keyboard, and also autoplays videos in a semi-full screen format. It looks much nicer, and I'd say it's quite a bit more intuitive. The next one is a complete life hack. There's a website known as SUPERCOOK, and I would describe it as a bit like a reverse recipe book. So you actually type in the ingredients you have, and based on those it gives you the recommended recipes. So you could have a bit of egg, a bit of butter, a couple of random vegetables, and even then it'll be able to find some really cool things to make. I'd say it's especially good for students who have to be extremely resourceful when they're cooking. When I was a student, I remember I'd always have a lot of random ingredients which didn't necessarily fit together to form traditional recipes, but using something like this, it seems to solve the problem. Then a really quick one, known as flip text. Essentially, once you head onto a website, you can paste in any body of text you want to, and it'll actually flip each of the letters individually upside down. It doesn't really have any practical application, but what you can do is then copy those and paste it into any social media. So it's just really a good way of annoying your friends. One website that I'd say I've personally found really quite helpful is Pixel Thoughts. What you do is you go onto it and you type in your problems or the things you're worried about, and it kind of gives you a way to think about them. To think about them in a way which doesn't really bother you and reminds you how small those problems are in the grand scheme of things. Bit of an odd website, but kind of worth it just for the experience. So the next one is Radio, and I'd go as far to say that this is the most complete radio experience on the internet. Once you head onto the website, it's got a super friendly user interface, by the way, and it just gives you a world map. You can then click on pretty much any country in the world map, and then, like a radio station, it'll start playing songs from that place. Not only that, but you can also fine-tune it to the kind of music you want. You can pick your genre and also your tempo. You can actually pick very fast music or very slow music, and it'll adjust the channel accordingly. What's even cooler though is that you can actually go back in time. So you could even go as far back as 1920 and start listening to the songs from all the way back then. Then we've got another one that definitely sits in the wow, this is very cool category. So if you head on to the Explore Everest website, you can actually click on Mount Everest in 3D. And this might not actually be quite what you were expecting. It actually visualizes the tour as if you were climbing the mountain yourself. So it takes you through with this 3D visualization, and it's got a really nice text overlay. So it highlights all the important bits, like the different base camps, like some more information of people who've gone through there. It's really interesting to watch, and they've also included some authentic sounds. So kind of people shouting and screaming because they've struggled in the past to get up there. You can hear it all, see it all. It's quite an unusual and well-developed experience. And there we go. I really hope you enjoyed the video. It was something a little bit different, but nonetheless let me know if you enjoyed it. Maybe I'll work on making some more of these. With that being said, I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.